Welcome to the Left Behind Game Club. This is part 2 of our 2-part Legend of Zelda Wind Waker series. If you haven't listened to part 1, that's available on podcast services across the internet. But just be warned, in part 2, we get in the weeds just a little bit.
I was really broke, so I decided to cut some grass, and then I went to go talk to this guy, and he's like, take my pig for a walk. So I did.
Fantastic.
How did we get here?
You're listening to the Left Behind Game Club.
Welcome to the Left Behind Game Club, our never-ending attempt to make sure that no game is left behind. I'm our host, that's different. I'm our host, Jacob McCourt, and I'm with 3 friends. The first friend, Murtadi.
How's it going?
Second friend, Mike Ruffolo.
Wagwan man.
And our guest host, back for part 2 of our Wind Waker series, Don Ferron.
Hello.
Hello. So, we finished The Legend of Zelda Wind Waker, and now we're going to talk about the end of the game. Last time we played up to the Master Sword, the receipt of the Master Sword.
We pulled it out of the ground.
Yeah, we did. We pulled it so hard out of the ground. The ground shook and broke, and please save me from this joke.
And then and then Tetra turned into Zelda.
Yeah.
And
surprise.
Then, yeah.
Spoilers.
And then the King of Red Lion said, Zelda, you should stay here. I don't know if he says Tetra or Zelda. Anyways, he says, you should stay
he says
here.
Princess Zelda.
And our boy Link is going to go to the top of the world where there's seas and stuff, and he's going to go collect all the other pieces and defeat Ganon, and then he'll be okay.
Zelda's Rapunzel now.
Guys, I was waiting until we started, so I got an announcement. I took notes.
What?
Look at this. Just wait. Just stare at the notes.
So
there are a
many
lot of notes.
They're still going.
Oh.
Okay, they're done now.
Yeah. I took notes.
I'm so proud of you.
Thanks, guys. I'm kind of piloting this to see if I can...
see if it works?
Yeah. Just
He's like a little baby bird that's
because
still in the nest.
There's so much, so I wanted to make sure I got everything. And most of them, I separated them in a rant column and a rave column.
and a rave column?
Is that what it is? Rant and rave?
Yep.
Okay,
Ranting
yeah.
and raving.
I just kind of took a guess, and I'll let you guys guess which one is more full by the end.
So before we start, I want to notice. I'm having trouble with words today.
It's okay. It's not like it's your profession.
It is. I want to tell people that if you haven't listened to part 1 of this series, you should probably do that, because we're not going to talk about the first half of the game. We're going to pretend like it didn't happen. Like this is Wind Waker back half edition. Michael.
Fill in your knowledge with the first step.
Wind Waker Part 2, Electric Boogaloo.
There we go.
You got one, Mo?
No.
All right, so what happens immediately after you pull that Master Sword out of the ground?
So you pull the Master Sword out of the ground. Time returns to the kingdom.
And so does the color.
And color does too. It's Pleasantville in a video game. And then, so you go up top. You lay waste to fools, because now you have a sword.
Slashed like
that just
no
does
one's ever
stuff.
seen.
Yeah. It's like you before you're using a butter knife, and now you're using a steak knife.
Look, I'm kind of jumping a little bit forward. That sword is beautiful.
It's really nice.
It's a nice look.
Especially,
it doesn't look crazy. It doesn't look like massive, like from Final Fantasy. What is it? Cloud. Yeah, it's not a mega sword like that.
Yeah, with a gun in the handle.
It's just elegant. It's got slicing capability. And just the
I don't know.
side.
It looked like a Tinker Toy or a Mega Block sword to me.
Jacob, the
Hi.
game is cell shaded like a cartoon. Why does the sword need to not be like a cartoon?
Yeah, I'm just saying it's like a Tinker Toy sword. That's all.
You know what? It defeats Ganondorf. Spoils.
But when you pull it out, it is not at its full potential.
Good point, Don.
You have
Good
to
That's what
go
she
and
said.
collect that power in order to defeat the final boss.
And how do you get the power?
So the King of Red Lion says there are 2 points, two temples that you need to go to. One, the Wind Temple.
The Earth
other,
Temple.
the Earth Temple. And he says there are 2 entrances above the water. They're actually mountaintops and peaks, but like because everything's flooded, they just look like little islands. So you run to them and you find out, okay,
or you sail to them.
Well, my Link is like Jesus. He runs on water. Okay, and so you get to the top, and you go to
the Earth Temple is first, right?
I think the Earth Temple. Jake.
I'm sorry.
Jake's sitting over here
That
buckled,
Jesus joke was
Just-
really good.
just bent over, like heaving and trying to catch his
That
breath.
may be the best joke you've ever told on this podcast.
Oh, low blow.
Damn, Jake. Both complimenting me and cutting me at the knees.
Yup, that was a backhander.
Don't
for
worry,
sure.
I got more coming.
Okay, go. Hot fire.
So,
Spit it.
So what happens is you go to the Earth Temple first, and what do you need to get before you go there? Oh, you need the power gauntlets, the little bracelets that allow you to pick up heavy stones. Stones that are gigantic, and it's hilarious to see little Link pick up these big stones that are like 1 billion pounds.
Or big fat pigs.
He carries everything the entire of the game.
What?
On
Windfall.
your home island.
No,
you-
Outset. Outset Island.
Outset. There's
Onset?
Outside Island.
Outset.
Because it's at the outside
One of
the
the
game.
residents asks you to take his pig for a walk. So
No
you
way.
lift him up and you like bring him around the island, and there are little like mud piles. So if you throw bait onto the mud piles, he'll like roll around and like stuff will come out of the
I
ground
love
and you
this game
collect
so
it.
much.
Oh.
That's so cool.
He's a white pig too, right?
He's black pig.
Wait,
I played the Wii U
Racist.
version.
did you
and I
guys
feel
not like grab those pigs early on at all? Was this
I
your
picked
first?
up the little one. I
Yeah.
threw him off the ledge into the water a bunch. And
No,
then they just
I-
swim on like little piggies.
I threw one of them into like the pen, and the guy's like, "Oh, thanks for bringing him over."
Is that early in the game
first
then?
like thing I did in the game.
Oh, because the
Okay,
guy's
yeah,
there and he's
so
like, help
later-
me find my pig. And then I snuck up on some pigs and I picked them up and I brought them right to him and he didn't say anything. I was like, dummy, I'm bringing you pigs. You asked me to find you pigs. Why aren't you taking it? And so I just gave up on it because I'm not going to waste all my time carrying pigs around this game when I'm supposed to be sailing and saving the world from Ganon.
Mm-hmm.
I was really broke, so I decided to cut some grass, and then I went to go talk to this guy, and he's like, take my pig for a walk. So I did.
Fantastic.
How did we get here?
So
Power
you need to get
gauntlets.
the
Right.
power bracelets.
Yes.
So you talk to the fish just outside the island, the man fish, and then he says, if you go this amount
Ugly
north
fish.
and this amount
Yeah.
amount of squares west, you'll get to this island. And so you go to the island, you complete the little trial. I don't remember if that one is the one that you had to stop the volcano from exploding with the frozen arrow, or if it was the one that you had to melt.
Melting is first.
Melting is first?
Melting is
Okay.
first.
So anyways, you go in, you get these power gauntlets, you come back to the island, you pick up the big stone, you move it out of the way, you hop in, and you start the temple. And then you realize, oh, to complete this, because a Zora Sage?
A Zora Sage. So when
Zora
you
Sage,
go
yeah.
to learn the Earth
ballad.
Gods ballad, it tells you that this sage, which is Azora, tells you that you need to find one of their ancestors with a specific instrument. So you look at the instrument and then you realize that it is your little bird friend
Medley.
with the harp. So you go and talk to her.
You pick up Medley. So you go back to Dragon Roost Island, you talk to her, you say like, hey, Prince Kamali or whatever his name is.
How do you guys remember these names?
Because they're memorable.
No,
They're cute characters.
so you know, I'm gonna
Whimsical.
listen. So
They're
Even.
colorful, whimsical,
So,
energetic.
this is kind of
vibrant.
like not a spoiler of like my comment for the end of the game, but like it wasn't almost until like the end of the game when like that boat comes at you and like you see like your friends. I thought that is it your sister?
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah,
I
she's
thought
chasing
that.
after
Okay,
you.
so I thought that person, the pirate girl,
Tetra.
Tetra.
Is it slash Zelda?
Zelda, when she comes back.
Same person.
Okay, and
Oh, did you beat this game?
listen, there's one other person where the exact same person, almost like the entire time.
Yeah, well, the whole
Half-heartedly.
plot is that because they look alike, your sister was stolen by the big bird that's Ganondorf's bird. Because they were looking for Tetra.
Everyone just looks the exact same, except for the bird girl,
That's the, that's the conceit.
Burdendorf.
Burdendorf.
Yep.
Way to go.
Puppadorf.
Thanks.
Really adding value to this project.
That's me. Hi.
So wholesome.
So
I'm the host. I don't have to add value.
So you pick up Medley, you sail on your boat back to the island, you get in, you play the ballad together, which is down, down, up, right, left, right.
This is
it's
ridiculous.
endearing is what it is.
That's ridiculous.
And
you
it's
remember
beautiful. I've got them burned into my head. And so you go through this temple, solve a bunch of puzzles together. Hilarious, by the way. Everyone should go and watch Jacob McCourt's streams. Because watching him be frustrated trying to figure out how to get past the very first door, one of my favorite moments.
What was my problem with it?
Jacob's biggest problem with it was that he didn't listen to the King of Red Lions when he says, "Hey Medley, make sure that you listen to our friend Link here when he uses the command melody." And
Oh, she didn't know how to take control.
You have
He
his
didn't-
back,
he
he'll
didn't-
have your back,
yeah,
is what he says.
Exactly. And so Jacob just ends up throwing Medley from one end of the room to the
No
other,
way.
and then
Oh no.
jumping to the other, and then flying, and then he says, "I'm really bad at this game." And then he eventually figured it out, and it was one of my favorite moments to ever see on a Twitch stream. So if you enjoy really good streams, very funny commentary, you should watch Jacob McCourt on Twitch. We'll plug him at the end.
Oh boy.
So yeah, you go through this temple. Not my favorite temple, but you do it. You get to the end. There's a boss.
Mm-hmm.
Who is the
I
boss of
very
this
much
one?
enjoyed
This
that
was the elf
temple.
guy, the elf ghost.
The elf ghost. What are you talking about?
The little ghosts.
The ghost.
ghost
Oh,
This is like
man.
that's
This
one of my
temple,
notes.
you get the mirror
You get the
shield.
reflective shield.
Yeah, and a lot of the puzzles have to do with light.
Right.
And I would say that this is my favorite boss in the whole
'Kay.
game.
Really?
Yeah.
Here's my note.
It was so
What?
fun. He was fun and whimsical. He was like a big fat ghost, and you threw him on the wall, and he was like, "Oh no, I'm on the wall!"
Literally, so weird tiny elf dance. I approve. And then the note after it: why do we have to kill them? And then afterwards, skulls? Question mark. How do the ghosts have skulls?
Mo, I need more of your commentary. As
This
you
is
play.
why. This is why I took these notes.
But yeah, that was my favorite
Amazing.
boss in the entire game because it was. A lot of them were easy, but this one just felt it had that level of whimsy and
They're running away from you, and you're just slashing,
yeah.
destroying them. I don't know what did they do wrong. What did they do?
And if you use fire arrows, they
so
die
they
even
try
faster.
and confuse you. If they run into you, and they essentially invert your controls. And when they invert your controls, it's very hard to play the game. Except
I thought it was easier.
You're
That was
a
the
monster,
easiest
Don.
boss
You're a
for me.
monster. You're a monster. And so, you defeat the boss pretty easy. Took me a while to figure out that you didn't just roll them into any edge of the room, that you had to roll them
be
into a
with the
pillar with the
spikes.
big spikes. Because in my mind, there were spikes on every edge of that room.
Mhm.
So, whatever. So anyways, did that, finished it. Medley says, "I'm going to stay here and pray. I have to dedicate myself to this, so that way, you go, please say goodbye to Prince Kamali for me.
Mhm.
I hope that he turns out okay. It's going to be a big deal that she's staying at this temple and has to devote the rest of her life to it."
You know what my big pet peeves in this game is?
What?
The way they treat female characters.
Tell me more.
Should I use more
Yeah,
words?
You should use
So
more
think
words.
about the two strong female characters in this game.
Tetra. Very
Tetra
strong.
and Medley, right?
Yeah.
Medley's basically doing Kamali's job.
I was going to say grandma.
Yo.
Yeah, Grandma's pretty
Grandma.
cool too, but she's very sick.
Both grandmas.
and very
though.
frail.
No,
Both grandmas.
but to be honest, so Tetra Zelda at the end,
Yeah.
and she's OP as hell.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's she's probably the most she could have
Uh-huh.
taken on Ganondorf the entire time
And
if she
we
wasn't a
keep her
narcoleptic.
in a castle for the entire game.
Yeah, if she wasn't freaking chugging
And
NyQuil
Medley-
and going to bed every time,
Yeah, and
she'd take him down.
Medley's cool too. And what do we do with Medley? We just throw Medley around, and Medley can't do anything by herself. I don't know. I've never been like this before, where I'm just like, these female characters are better than the male characters, and yet we're just either putting them away or we're using them like tools.
I
So
hear
you
ya.
want a Legend of Zelda game with the story being the legend of a badass princess named Zelda.
Yeah, where she's actually a badass.
Okay, you
I'm
can't
down for this.
listen to this. You
Or
can't.
Linkle.
You can't even. This wasn't even planned. Michael, what does my note say right here? Right there.
I really like controlling weird
No,
characters.
right there. No, come on, come on. This is literally what you guys are just talking about.
Can I just play as a bird girl the whole game? Kickstarter bird girl game. So we know the next game that Murtadi is releasing after his curling for the iPhone.
Yeah,
simulator.
literally. So at the exact same point, I didn't even think you were going to lead on to that. I
I
was
think that is a golden idea.
Mhm.
Kickstarter idea. Let's do it.
I'm down for it.
Yeah, we can play Hyrule Warriors, where you can play as a female Link,
Or bird
but
girl.
not play Hyrule Warriors. How's that sound?
I'm down.
Never playing that game again sounds
'Kay.
wonderful.
Okay, that was my point. I made my point.
It's a
I
good
want
point.
to. I
I
want to make a
appreciate it.
point to say that at first I was kind of upset because I thought it was just going to be one of those escort missions, but it was really cool because it was
collaborative.
exactly. It was very collaborative. You needed her to get through the temple, and I liked that you could command her to control her, to have her stay at a certain point, to reflect the light, or like she could reflect the light at enemies as well. I thought it was great. It was really creative, and I love the mirror shield. So I mean,
yeah, I thought the mirror shield was cool. I thought the light puzzles were fun. The thing that annoyed me with both the Earth Temple and the Wind Temple is that few of the puzzles and few of the themes and motifs of those temples involved earth or wind. The Earth Temple is all about redirecting light, and the Wind Temple is
a forest. But you use your leaf to
you do use
wind.
the leaf.
But I agree with you.
Yeah.
I agree. I can agree.
Yeah. So
I never thought of it that way.
Yeah, I'm just thinking about it now.
That was the one thing that really annoyed me about it, because I was sitting there thinking like, okay, great. What does it have to do with the earth, this temple? I'm moving blocks around in mirrors so that way we can get light in the right spot, and so we can illuminate this mirror sun face thing and then get rid of these ghosts. But none of this has anything to do with it being the Earth Temple. Unless I just don't know deep cuts about Zelda lore. But yeah, so you complete that temple. Medley stays back. The King of Red Lion says, great, okay, go to the next temple. And so you head there and you realize, oh, I need another thing. So you go 4 spaces south and 3 to the left, and that's what the fish dude tells you. And you go there and you get the next item that you need, and that is the very heavy metal boots. So that way you can't be blown away when you go to Gale Island. And you go there, and this is where I had a bit of trouble at first. I think I maybe spent an hour doing this wrong before I decided to look it up in a wiki.
Was this the shuriken?
This is the big face that was blowing you off the island until you got these metal boots. So you put the metal boots on and you're not able to be blown off by anything. And you get right up front.
You hammer his face.
And you do. That's what you need to do. You need to hammer his face. But you know what I wanted to do?
You wanted to bomb his face?
I wanted to bomb his face. Because it's a stone statue of an octopus with a perfectly round hole in the mouth that is the size of a bomb. And so I sat there thinking, like, this is too perfect for it not to be the solution. This is too perfect for it not to be the solution.
Michael?
It was not.
Your bomb did not go in that hole.
Nope, it didn't.
Ugh.
And then the thing that frustrated me even more, when the boat that was spinning around the island trying to shoot me with its cannon came around, it lined up a perfect shot, and its cannonball went right in the mouth and did not blow it up. And so I was very upset. And so we break it with the hammer. You get inside, and you realize, okay, I need another character this time with a leaf cello. And the leaf cello, if you remember correctly, is our little friend...
The Karok, right?
That's the Karok, yeah.
I don't know what his name was, though.
Starts
Cutie
with
Pie is what I called him, because I couldn't remember
adorable.
his name.
He's adorable.
His face is a leaf.
His face is a leaf, and it's an adorable leaf. Mm-hmm. And so you go back to the Forest Haven, and you talk to the Great Deku Tree, and then you find your little buddy hiding in a waterfall, and you convince him to come with you. He has a vision. And you go back to the island, you play the song together, you get in. Everything's dandy. Okay? You start going through the temple. I spent a lot of time in this temple getting lost. Because unlike the other one, where our good friend Medley would spawn at the entrance of whatever room you walk into, and would only stay in that one room, you can totally leave our little Karok buddy behind in a completely different level, in a completely different area of this temple. And that was very frustrating to figure out how to get him in the right spot and get you to the right spot.
Because
I kept him with me at all times.
Yeah, because
I did not let him leave my sight.
The core of the temple is like a 3-floor trunk that has a fan going through it that you're going to use a lot of like your leaf to go up and down. I did not love the design of the dungeon. I found it took me a lot of time to find exactly what I wanted, and the point that you brought up about your little Karok buddy being a hard, maybe not, because it's so big you leave him behind. Mm-hmm. There was one time where I went all the way to the boss door, realized, I don't have the boss key. I left him there in front of the boss door, and then I went all the way back later, and I needed him to get the boss key, so I ended up going back and forth at least 3 or 4 times, and that was not pleasant.
I was
at all.
very afraid of that, so that's why I kept him by my side at all times. He's just so cute. I didn't want him to get hurt.
He's
you
like a
know?
little teddy bear. You want to keep
He's
with
so
you.
cute.
But the problem that I had too was when you try to go up, because it's like a 3-floor thing, right?
Mhm.
So there are those little I don't know if they're like arms or whatever,
Yeah.
but they can
Divine arms.
Divine arms can get your little buddy, and then you have to start all the way from the bottom again.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Start from the bottom.
Mhm.
Start from the bottom now.
Yeah, that I don't know, the whole like command melody, bringing him up and down. I just didn't love the design of the dungeon.
I thought he was adorable. I hated controlling him.
Mhm.
His feet are maybe 2 inches apart, and so he just waddles and
He had
essentially
feet?
rolls.
It makes little noises when he waddles.
Makes
too.
little
It's really
patterns.
cute.
Yeah.
He's like a
Pitter
wind
patter.
chime.
Yeah, so anyways, you complete that whole temple. You get to the boss. Who is the boss in that temple?
I don't remember.
Oh, it was like a little weird shaman guy. Like
Oh no, the sand
The
thing.
sandworm, the
sand-
toughest
yeah.
boss in the
Wait,
whole
what?
game.
that was
Yeah.
Again, what does that have to do with the wind?
That's a great point. Why didn't I think of this? I was probably too busy
Eat
trying
your
to beat
heart
the game.
out, Kevin Bacon in Tremors, because it's a giant worm.
Lost on me.
Lost on me
Right
too.
over your head.
There's gonna be
All
some
right.
people that are gonna be like, "Yeah, I
Yeah.
get that. That was great." I
I thought
To
the
me-
puzzles were really challenging, and I liked that the final boss in that temple matched the puzzle aesthetic.
was he
That was
challenging?
I thought he was
the toughest
challenging.
boss in the whole game. The single toughest.
Really?
I counted 6 tries.
Puppet Ganon, like the 3 stages of him, were way harder.
Puppet
for me.
Ganon was the
Ganon
top
was,
one.
Bad.
Was annoying.
Bad.
Yeah, yeah,
not
Okay.
bad, not bad, like
Oh,
bad
so you're
negative.
saying hard, not bad.
yeah.
Okay.
The thing that I found very difficult about this boss in the Wind Temple, and that has nothing to do with wind, despite the fact that he sometimes
It did
flies.
fly, yeah.
Yeah, sometimes. It was.
Yo, shout out to Shadow of the Colossus.
I was just gonna
yep.
say that.
Yep.
Yo, Mo.
Yo, when I saw that, I'm like, ideas coming,
Brain
which
trust
game?
at work.
Which game came first?
coming down the road.
Wind Waker or Shadow of the Colossus?
Shadow.
Shadow of the Colossus.
By like what, 2-3 years?
Decade.
Yeah.
No, this
No,
game
I
originally
know.
came out in 2003.
Yeah, I think it was like around the same
A
time.
few years.
Few years? Okay.
Few years. Yeah.
Yeah.
And so, yeah. So how does this boss operate? This boss is a giant sandworm and creates quicksand around the hole, and you need to use your newfound hook to attack its tongue.
Hook shot.
Yeah, there you go. And pull it in, and then attack it with your sword. And then he sends little versions of himself after you, and you got to take care of them.
Yep, you got to pull those up and kill those.
And it sounds much easier than it is, because before you realize this, you don't understand that, or at least I didn't, that the quicksand was very slowly pulling you towards the center. And then he takes a big bite out of you and takes out 4 hearts in one go. And while I had plenty of hearts, I was not prepared to lose 4 hearts in one go.
I did not have plenty of hearts. I
How
didn't
many
do a
hearts
lot
did you
of.
guys have?
I had maybe 7 by the end.
Oh, that's bad.
Yeah, I did not
I had
do.
2 rows of hearts.
I did not do a lot of exploring to find the heart pieces. Really, if I found them, it was like I had like maybe between 7 and 10. I didn't have a whole lot.
How many heart pieces did you get?
I got a lot.
How
did you have
define
2?
a lot? All of them?
No, not all of them, because you can get 2 full rows.
I think 20 is the max.
I had about a row and a half. I did a lot of side content.
Okay, so maybe you had 5 extra hearts. 6.
What's extra?
the
extra on
ones
top
that
of
you
what?
don't get from the main
from
story?
like the bosses,
Yes.
right?
I wouldn't be able to say.
Okay.
I had a lot of heart pieces the whole game.
Because I think I only collected 4 or 5 like pieces of heart, so I got 1 extra heart. But it sounds to me like you did a lot of extra
I
content.
realized
I love the side
very
quest.
quickly it was pretty necessary for like especially the magic bar as well, because I didn't do that, or
Yeah.
like the wallet or
Did
any of that extra stuff.
any of you guys do the Rito flying challenge?
What?
No.
Okay, so there's in the top right corner of the map, there is a whole square of sea that is the Rito postman doing a flying challenge. Who can fly the farthest? And so what you need to do is you first need to double your magic bar by getting I think the Southern Ferry. You need to go
The fairy
there.
fountain.
Oh.
You need to kill an octopus in the
Had
water.
I known that, I would have done that.
Then when you kill the octopus, out comes a fairy, and they double your magic bar.
Dang.
And then you can use your leaf to fly and use all the little gusts of wind to get to the very end, and then you get a lot of nice heart pieces and coins and rupees and all the fun things. And so, yeah. You should have done that. It
Yeah, I
was
think
fun.
the only thing I did was get bombs. Do you get extra bombs by default?
No.
No,
You have to get a
need
bigger
to
bomb
go and
bag.
yeah.
Which I
Okay.
did not do.
See, I only got a bigger
Wow,
bomb
you guys
bag.
played this game on hard. I played it on easy. I got all the extra
bomb
little
bag
perks.
and then the hurricane spin. Those are the only two
I got the
extra-
hurricane
Spin was so much
Yeah.
fun.
So great.
Yeah.
I just wish that I got it earlier. So the hurricane spin, for those of you at home, is when you hold B, Link's sword will charge up, and the charge up uses some of your magic energy, and he just spins around the room with this hurricane spin and knocks everything out. And when you do it, your sword teacher, who teaches you at the beginning, just starts bawling. He's like, "I've taught you everything I know, and it's amazing that
He's
you
so
did this,
happy.
and you're the best
He's-
person
he's
ever,
so
Link."
proud.
Oh my god!
But when you spin, you also get dizzy at the end, which really gave me a disadvantage because I'm like, oh yeah, I'm just going to spin. And then the first time that I used it in actual combat, I'm like, oh no. Because
Yeah.
you can't move for like 3 seconds or something like that.
Dizzy.
So, like for Snake Ganon, for example, if I want to use my hurricane spin,
Does that work?
no. Well,
No.
It does.
What?
It lets for Snake Ganon. It lets you stun him. So you could use your light arrows on his tail, but the problem is you're out for the amount of time that he is stunned for.
We're gonna get to Snake Ganon.
Yeah,
'Cause
Snake.
That's the worst version.
A note that I made was that hurricane spin though.
And so yeah, so you get all these power ups. You complete that temple. You beat this second hardest boss in the
Yep.
game, and then you're like, great, okay, I've got everything I need. I've completed this. I've got my Master Sword to be like pure butt kicking evil. It's time to do this. Let's take on Ganon.
Yep.
And you get outside, and someone's talking to the King of Red Lions. It's one of your favorite manfish.
Mm-hmm.
And he says, like, it's great. There's no one.
Fishman.
Yeah,
maybe. I'd say Fishman.
sure, manfish. And so he's saying to the King of Red Lions, no one at all. All of the goblin dudes are gone. They're not at the Fortress of Solitude or Evil
Which is
or whatever.
earlier
Fortress of
where you
Solitude.
see Ganondorf, and that
Forsaken
is where he
Fortress.
takes Tetra.
You find out that no one's at the Forsaken Fortress,
Yep.
and you decide, like, oh, okay, so this is a bad sign. The King of Red Lion says,
I was thinking, great, I never have to go back there again.
we should probably go check on Zelda. You need to, like, hurry up, and you need to find all of these pieces. And this is where I have loved this game, but this is where the game really kind of, like, tilted me towards maybe not the best game Zelda ever. And
Why?
why?
Because I
So-
think I might be the exact same, and I have a note
Okay,
right here that might
so
match it.
what you then have to do is you have to go find the Triforce of Courage.
This is when I was like, this game should be over by now.
Right?
Which is split in
And I
8
got-
annoying pieces.
It's broken up into 8 pieces. So you need to go not only get the treasure maps for each of these pieces, but then you need to go to Tinkle, the guy who is
Tingle.
whatever.
Tingle.
Tingle. Tinkle, whatever. Not my favorite character, although I gotta say.
Tingle, tingle, whoop,
Yeah. Kuala Lumpur. I thought he was hilarious when you meet him later in the game. Initially, when I found him, met him in the game, I was not vibing with him at all. But later, when he's surrounded by his other cult of Tingle guys, hilarious. So you go to Tingle Island, and he decrypts and
Yeah.
deciphers all of these maps that you get, and then you got to go dig up these pieces of the Triforce in the water, and it's not easy to find them, and it takes way too long, and it's a big pain in the butt. And I think the best thing that they did in that HD remaster is that they made it so that you don't have to do that. You only, correct me if I'm wrong, Jake, because that's what you played.
Yeah.
You straight up get the pieces instead of the treasure.
No.
No?
No, you have to go and fetch the 3 maps. You have to get them decoded
Only
by
3?
Tingle. There's 3 of them.
Oh,
There's
see,
8.
in the GameCube, there's 8.
Oh, there's 8.
Yeah.
Oh, that's terrible.
Yeah, it's
and
bad.
he does not do it for free.
398 rupees.
He makes
Yeah.
you pay every time. And
But you
because I
collect
didn't
rupees
get-
all over.
Yeah,
But
I had
because I
5,000
didn't get that
rupees.
bigger wallet.
Oh,
neither
Don,
did
why are you
I.
playing this game on
Time.
hard? Why do you play this on
I
hard?
didn't get the
I
bigger
just
wallet
tried to go
either.
I did.
through it
I
instead of.
assumed that like you needed cash
Yeah.
for something, but remember, Super Mario
Money
Galaxy.
rules the world.
Yeah,
Mom and I know what's up.
when we had those little gems, those star gems in
Fuck
Super
girls
Mario
around the
Galaxy.
world.
I collected those, didn't do anything. I felt like Zelda wasn't going to betray me So I decided to collect as much money as possible.
So that's why that explains a lot, because for me, playing the Wii U version, you three played the GameCube version. In the Wii U version, there's a ghost ship, and then there's also these like mini dungeons where you literally just fight like 4 rooms of people, and then you get access to a chest that gives you the Triforce.
You didn't have to do the Savage Labyrinth?
I did.
Oh, okay.
But that was not like it told me, "Hey, it's here," instead of me getting a map to send me there.
How different in general is? I don't know if Mike, do you know anything about the Wii U, like content wise, like besides it looking beautiful?
I think besides the graphics, the sail. There's a sail that can let you go twice the speed. There's no GBA connectivity like the Tingle Tuner, and then the change here with the 8 Triforce pieces. I think that's most of it.
It's the Triforce pieces that is like the biggest change.
So for when we got to the freaking pieces, this is when I started doing like a walkthrough to expedite the process, and I stumbled across the Wii U version of the game. My main note is, holy beep, Wind Waker HD, it's as if I got LASIK surgery.
It looks so beautiful.
Yeah.
I was talking about it last week, or last time we recorded.
It's like when you
watching
look at something with new glasses.
Stream was mind-blowing for me, because I thought the game was beautiful on the GameCube, but seeing it with that extra detail, cleaned up.
Brighter, too.
Brighter.
Very
more whimsy,
bright.
Yeah.
More whimsy built right into those pixels.
My eyes got like used to the basic version, and then as soon as and then it went to YouTube 1080p quality, and it was stunning.
I think Anthony Carboni has a great video on YouTube about the difference between the graphics
like shadows and stuff.
Yeah, exactly. A lot of it's to do with light and detail, and that's a great video. You should look it up.
That makes a lot of sense.
With lighting and shadow,
Anthony
it
Carboni,
is
Wind
a
Waker.
big difference.
You'll find it.
It sounds so small, but like when you are just your eyes get accustomed to the potato graphics, as Mike dubbed it. It's
my dubbing.
It's nice.
So anyway, trash can on fire, picking up these Triforce pieces.
That was bad.
You picked them up.
It was bad. It took too long. I used a walkthrough to get through the whole thing. Was not happy, but I did it. And then once you complete the whole Triforce of Courage, you go down into the Temple of the Gods, go back under the ocean. It's back to Hyrule. And then you go and see Zelda, and Zelda turns around, and then she disappears, and Ganon starts talking to you. And it was like, ha ha ha.
Well, but when you walk in and you see like everything's destroyed, and then you see her at the end, I was like, no, it's too good to be true.
And I'm thinking, oh no, not the stained glass.
No, you know what I thought? I thought she was going to turn around and it was going to be like Ganon in like full like drag outfit, saying, "Oh, I tricked you, buddy," and then like that's when the fight would start.
You know who Ganon reminded me of? We're all '90s kids, or most of us are '90s kids. When he laughed like that, he reminded me of Megabyte from Reboot.
Wow,
that was a really
100%. He left
deep cut, Canadian cut too.
Yeah, it is. So anyone listening that is not Canadian and you want to see some early CGI stuff, Reboot.
That was so good. I loved
It was such
Reboot.
a great show. But
it was the first television cartoon to use CGI.
It was
amazing.
Facts, and they're bringing it back, just like everything else.
I heard that, but I heard that years ago.
Yeah. Can I ask you one question before we go on?
Yeah.
Tingle, would you go to the bar for a drink with Tingle?
Absolutely.
Yeah. Mike, I feel like you're on the fence about it.
You know, if you had asked me when I released him from jail, I would have said no, because I was not vibing with anything that was happening with Tingle. Thought his tights were too tight. I thought
you did mention that in the first half.
Thought his backflip was a little too strong.
Can you do a backflip?
I can't.
Well, there you go.
I mean, Link can. My Link can.
Yeah, he can.
Anyway, but you know the Tingle that I met at his island, at the top where his other little Tingle buddies were just like spinning the tower around. He seemed like a chill dude.
Okay.
He seemed like he'd be a great night a great guy to go have a beer with. Mm-hmm. See where the night takes us.
I didn't like his face.
His face was a little bit weird.
It was done. Like as soon as I'm like, no, I don't want anything to do with this guy.
You know what? I bet he's the kind of guy that knows like the best underground bars, and he would take you for like a great night on the town.
I feel like a weird rave.
Yes.
Yeah.
But also wouldn't pay any of his tabs, so he'd be like just walking around ordering drinks, and you'd have to pay for his tab.
Oh.
Would I go out for a drink with him, or would I go out for a night with him? I would have one drink with Tingle. That's it.
Okay.
Oh, I would go all night. I would hit every spot he wanted to hit, and we would be best friends.
Go all night with you.
Anyway, moving on. Ganondorf. Last part of the game. I'm so uncomfortable.
Ganondorf.
Kinda the last part of the game. I'm just gonna leave it at that.
Yeah. So Ganondorf.
The last stretch.
Yeah. Sorry, Michael. He's trying so hard.
You look so disappointed.
It's a great game, Michael.
So you pop out of the area that Zelda was supposed to be.
Hit.
What? And hey, listen. And so
Hey, listen.
you run outside, and the area that was blocked off to you previously with the evil magic power, you're now like, hey, let me try and use my hook shot or my grapple hook or anything to get through this. And you're like, but my master sword now defeats all evil.
That took me 20 minutes to figure
It
out.
took me too long to figure out. I mean, it took me 5 minutes, and that was too long. But yeah, it was too long to figure that out. It should have been obvious. I don't know why it wasn't.
Slash the shadow wall to get through it.
I just assumed that, like, if you're holding it, you'd be able to run through it. Evil would not want to be destroyed. It would move out of your way.
I hit everything with the sword. Everything. If
I also
anything's
did
in the way,
everything.
All the
Mo has a vendetta against pottery.
When earlier on when you're pushing the boulders back and forth, I hit them before just to see if they break. Like they didn't immediately get to me. I don't know. That's just the way I just interact with everything and see what it does.
I like the way you think, Mo, because I do the same thing.
Yeah, just smash.
Anything that can be hit with a sword will be hit with a sword.
Just imagine Link in the pottery barn. That's all I'm thinking about right now.
Mo's a bull in a china shop. Just swinging his sword everywhere.
Yeah.
And so you break the barrier, you go through, you run down, you get into Ganon's tower, and commences a tough series of challenges.
I'd never been more frustrated.
Okay, why?
I thought the puzzles were the most challenging thus far, as you would expect it being at the end of the game.
So which puzzles?
Well, yeah, what puzzles?
The first, like, right before the first
boss,
little mini boss there, I just...
Are you talking about Shadow Ganon?
Like the fight with the Shadow Ganon?
He looks cool.
He did look cool.
Yeah, throughout the entire game, I still loved the small little details, the little puffs of smoke. When something dies and it's like, poof. The graphics never kind of died off on me throughout the entire game. But every time I got bored, it a little poof would happen. I'm like,
brought you back.
Cool. Yeah, I like it.
What's the name of those armor guys? What's the name of those armor guys?
Oh, they had a name?
Either way.
I called them Death Knights.
The Death Knights, they were my favorite part because when they lost their sword, they would do like kung fu kicks.
Right.
And that was my favorite part of the whole thing. Just the little flares, speaking of what
I think
Mo
they
was
looked
saying.
kind of clumsy when they did that too, which was kind of cute.
They skip leg day for sure.
My favorite thing was slowly beating them, so knocking off their helmet and then cutting off their armor and then making them drop the sword and then throwing the sword outside of the area that you were in so they couldn't go get it and then finish them off. Just slowly demolish their spirit.
That sounds like putting a sim in a room and taking away the door. That's agonizing.
Were you the kid with a magnifying glass and ants when you were a kid?
Essentially, yeah.
Ooh.
So,
mini bosses,
yeah. So you beat some of the mini bosses, then you defeat Shadow Ganon. The Shadow Ganon puzzles, or Phantom Ganon puzzles, were a little bit tough. It took me a while at first to realize that the sword, when you defeat him, always points at the room that you need to go to.
So that actually says on a little stone thing in one of the rooms.
Does it?
It does.
Yeah. So that was one of the
room.
It says, "Look, remember this room."
In the room that you have to memorize the order that the
lights
you
are
end
shown?
up having to boomerang the lights in. There's a little stone there. I had to look up where I needed to jump to start those challenges. But anyways, beat Shadow Ganon. Not too big of a deal.
I fell. I accidentally fell down the hole.
Lucky. Yeah, I ended up standing around trying to figure out where to go.
Yeah, I was the same. Where do I go?
Yeah.
I don't know.
So you defeat Shadow Ganon, and then where do we go from there?
Bosses?
Is that not having to defeat each boss again?
Yes, then you have to defeat each boss again, which I thought was much easier, and I'm glad that there was an archaic section that they made you do that, because at first I was like, this is dumb. I beat these bosses already. This is just filler.
100%.
Kind of sharpens your skills though with
That's
each of your weapons that you had to initially use to beat those bosses when you went through them.
You're trying to find a positive of a bad moment. I feel like it was just...
No.
don't know. I mean,
Silver
No,
lining,
because
bro.
this is the thing. You need to remember that, like, oh, I haven't used my boomerang in a long time, and there's a boss that's coming up that I'm
And
going
there's
to
a
use
reason that
boomerang
they're
in.
training you.
Yeah, they're reminding you of all the different things that you learn across the game that you're going to need to use when you face Shadow or the Puppet Ganon.
All of the resources that you have in your spoils bag.
Oh, I guess, yeah, you need to use your
Yeah.
boomerang. I hadn't thought of it that way. I just thought of it as, like, why do I... This is filler 100%, keeping me from the final boss.
The first couple, I thought that, and then the
Yeah.
other, I'm like, wait a second, and then it kind of popped
I
in my
was
head.
very upset until I faced Puppet Ganon, and then I was like, oh, well,
Yeah.
no
It all
wonder they
makes
did
sense.
it
that.
didn't even connect until you said it now. I'm like,
Yeah,
okay,
same.
okay, sure.
I'm picturing
Is
the
that a
strings
fair-
on the
fair
wall
point?
now.
Yeah.
I liked that all of those bosses, those rooms, aside from Link, was also in black and white. Like when you go to the
True.
Temple of Time or whatever it is, where you get the Master Sword, right before you pull the sword, everything's in black and white.
Oh.
So I thought that was really neat.
Yeah, I didn't
It was
think of that.
cohesive,
Yeah. I didn't
very
think of that either.
visually pleasing.
Yeah. Fits with the theme.
It was.
And
so
then you defeat those 4 bosses.
defeat the 4 bosses, which was a little annoying.
Tedious.
So yeah, defeat the 4 bosses. You go into the next room, and Ganon's like, "Aha!" and he pulls a Babadook on you, and he goes from being Ganon to this big, giant, evil puppet, and he grows, and he looks
Awful.
kind of crazy.
Well, first
Yeah.
he's like, not so fast, boy.
yeah,
Not so hasty.
Zelda's in a bed, too, for some reason.
yeah, it was a little bit creepy.
Yep.
It was a little bit creepy.
For a children's game, I was like, uh-oh, where's this going?
Mm-hmm.
He's touching her face. Uh-oh.
Okay, so why
No,
did
he
he
was
transform
reading
Puppet
her
Ganon?
dreams. He was reading her
Okay,
dreams,
I
and he
don't
said
know.
all he saw was ocean,
Ocean.
ocean.
So I thought
Vast seas.
I have a constant habit of I don't really follow along most of the story. If I'm like rushing through a game, I kind of just power through.
Mhm.
And then I felt like maybe there's something that was added in. I just quickly asked Michael just now, why was he a puppet? Does anyone know?
I don't know. I think it was because. Well, yeah, I honestly don't know. I can't give a good compelling reason that I believe in.
And why was he so bulbous? Like, why was there so many, like, his legs looked bad? Because they were just,
Deformed.
Maybe he
versions.
also skipped leg day,
yeah,
just
but,
like all of his baddies.
but, like, put rubber bands on his legs while he did leg day, so his
Like
his
a
legs,
fat baby with rolls.
Yeah.
I mean, his proportions were not correct.
No, they looked weird. He had fat
Whose
baby
proportions
legs.
are correct in this cartoon game
Prince Kamali. Are
with his wings?
And tiny,
Male
tiny
dude.
legs.
What about
Everybody
male
just has
dude?
tiny legs.
male dude,
The Rito Postman.
the king of Red Lions, the real king of Red Lions,
Oh man,
the realist.
Yeah.
How did he get his beard to stay that way is the real question here.
Who knows?
Magic.
Okay.
Zora oil.
So you get a special arrow before you defeat Ganon,
The light
and
arrow.
it's a light arrow, and you need to use this on every aspect of this Puppet Ganon. But before I use that, I realized, okay, all of Ganon's little minions, they're also evil. So what if I shoot them with light arrow? Did you guys do that?
Yeah.
They blow up. It's like a nuclear arrow.
Mm-hmm.
They just blow up. They get all white. They explode. It's amazing. It's a one-shot kill. It doesn't matter if they have armor, the big Death Knights with the big swords. You hit them once with this light arrow, and they go boom.
I didn't figure that out
Gone.
until halfway through the first little battle there.
I loved it.
Yeah, and because you have to go up through a hallway to get to Ganon, and that's where I figured it out. So like, I'm like, oh, I got to defeat all these people. So I just shot him with a light arrow, and exactly like that, I'm like, oh, they're gone.
I just kind of ran past him.
Did you guys use the bow and arrow a lot throughout the game?
Yes.
I used it on
Not
a lot of
really.
enemies that I didn't want to get up close to.
I love bow and arrows in any game. I rain down fire with the bow and arrow anytime I could. Like I
I
don't
use
know,
my boomerang a lot.
especially with like the auto lock. It's
I use the fire arrows a lot, not the frozen arrows. But anyway, you face
Bulbous
3 forms
Puppet Ganon.
of Puppet Ganon. The first is what I would call Bull Ganon.
I was going to say like a marionette.
Marionette, yeah.
You look more like a
So
marionette.
you got to use the boomerang to knock him down. Then you need to attack the tail. You do that 3 times, like every Nintendo game, and
Super Mario Galaxy.
he transforms. Okay, what's the next form? Is it Snake Ganon?
No, the
snake.
spider. He's
Spider
kind of like a
Ganon.
spider first.
Right.
So he's
Awful.
at the ceiling, and you can see his shadow on the ground to kind of predict where he's gonna come down.
Yeah, easy.
Awful.
Yeah,
Bad. The whole part of this thing is bad.
I thought that form was fine. whatever.
That
it
was
didn't
my
bother
worst
me.
form.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Mine too.
Oh, man.
Yeah. Because I didn't know, like, I didn't realize, I didn't think there was that much time for you to be able to, like, move that drastically. Because there was a space where you had to sit to get his, like, his sphere tail, I guess. And you actually had to move, like, based on his shadow to that point. And I found there wasn't enough time unless you were, like, in the close vicinity to get to a point where you could attack the tail with your light arrows.
I hugged near the edge, and he dropped, and I rolled over, and I attacked the tail, and it was easy. But this is where you probably had a much easier time than I did. Snake Ganon, the final form of Puppet Ganon. I used a whole 14, however many hearts that I had. I used a fairy in my jar to replenish
I
health.
also had a fairy in my jar.
And then used almost all of my hearts again before I figured out how to kill him. I used every bit of magic that I had. It took me forever. I thought I was doing it wrong. I looked it up in a walkthrough. I was doing it right. I was just very bad at doing it. That final form of Puppet Ganon almost killed me.
Had I not saved Grandma's soup and not had that fairy, if I didn't have that fairy, I would have used Grandma's soup, but I didn't have to, which I was really happy about because I was saving that for the very tip-top end of the game. So I'm very thankful that I had that fairy in the jar because I did die in the like worm snake thing.
Did anyone not use a walkthrough? Like to kind of guide you through the game?
I used it.
I would say, like, compared to how much I used it for Braid, which is like...
Oh, yeah,
I
but
had
that was
it open,
ridiculous.
That
Yeah.
was ridiculous. I would say I probably used it... I'd check things like probably 9 or 10 times.
Yeah.
I want
like,
to say
check.
a solid 5 for me because for the Triforce pieces, I didn't
Yeah.
really know where to go to get the maps.
Yeah.
And then
And most of it was there for me, Triforce
early
pieces.
on, I didn't know where to go, like what island to go to for one of the temples or something like that. And there were a few other things that I kind of looked up because I was so lost. I tried my very best not to do it.
Mike,
So yeah,
did you use a walkthrough at all? You
I did. Yeah.
You did? Okay,
I
good.
used the walkthrough to get all those stupid 8 Triforce pieces and
The
and
worst.
stuff.
Just expedite it.
Yeah, exactly.
You don't
3
want.
mini dungeons. Why
Yeah.
you need 8 pieces? Like, it didn't make any sense to me.
I think it's just to generate that hour count to say we made a long game. It's like
It is a long game with
Look,
all of
I
that
can give
side
you good
stuff
design
too.
reasons for why they would want 8 pieces. They want to show you more of the world. They want to have
Yeah,
you
yeah.
go explore more stuff. It was
make it optional.
yeah, that was exactly it. I had a ton of fun side quests. I think my favorite side quest was the one where after you save the 2 girls who are also stuck in the prison with your sister, you go back and you find the rich father is now the poor father because he's paid a huge ransom.
To Tetra.
And then
She's the best.
and then the poor father is now the rich father, and his daughter Maggie is super rich, and she has a boyfriend who's a moblin, and his name is Mo. And she says, "Oh, my sweet burly Mo, when will you come back to me?" And he writes letters to her, and you help through the postman.
No. Left her on red.
You left her on red. Did he ghost her?
Oh, left her unread. I heard left her on red. I'm like, is this the dating app in the Zelda world?
No, like unread, like
unread
messages being unread.
Yes.
Yeah, I got that.
So
I didn't.
I love that. It was
Zing.
one of my favorite little side quests. There's so much fun stuff, little cool things that happen on the islands that you don't expect to happen. But there's so much packed into those little places.
There's also a lot of character packed into those characters too, so
Exactly,
that
yeah.
adds to it.
Like the whiny teenager who's like, I will only open up to you if you know what I'm going through. Please take a photo of something that's pale and round. And then you have to take a photo of the moon. But then he opens up to you, and you find out all of his little teenage angsty problems. A lot of fun little side quests throughout the islands. I'm really glad that I went and did those because I think that's where I got the most enjoyment. Not out of the story. There were some good story moments, but anyways.
Did it keep you going?
It did, yeah. You finish Puppet Ganon, you move on to the next stage, which is real Ganon, and you get into a sword fight with him, and this is where Ganon does not take the advice of the Wu-Tang Clan. He does not protect his neck because you just start wailing on him, and you get the prompt to use the A button to go up, and Link jumps up, steps on his head, slashes him in the neck, jumps behind him, continues to do it over and over and over. Ganon does not stop this. I don't know about you guys.
I want to make a point to say that he has 2 swords as well.
2 swords.
So he should have like double,
Yeah.
there's fighting power there.
Can we go back and talk about probably the weirdest part of this whole game? So the Triforce kind of... All 3 pieces of the Triforce form and become the Triforce.
Right,
and Ganon's like, I want this world to be full of darkness.
So he like kind of punches, like gut punches Link, knocks him aside.
Sucker punches him.
Yeah.
Legit sucker punches him. Tetra's still like lying over on the ground, so he takes the Triforce from her. He takes the Triforce from Link. All 3 pieces form, and then he's I want the darkness.
Yeah, and he puts his arm out, and then all of a sudden,
and then you turn over.
The King of Red Lions is just there.
Amazing.
No, why? Where did he come from? He could have done that the whole time. Stupid.
I loved it.
I thought it was very like perfect comedic timing.
I think I almost whipped my controller because I'm like, why you could have done this the whole time.
I laughed.
I
just
loved it.
straight up laughed. It was so good.
What did Mo write in his notes?
Okay, so why are we fighting?
Can we all just get along?
Literally, the entire I'm like, what is wrong? Like, what's happening? Why is there a battle? Why are we like in an altercation? I know he stole Tetra, Zelda.
Why do you have story questions if you never pay attention to the story, Mo?
It wasn't a good game.
I want to cover the world with darkness. I'm Ganondorf.
Yeah, it was just very like cookie cutter bad guy, and I was just like, man, this isn't like, I don't know, I wasn't convinced of his evil intentions.
With all the story that you paid attention to.
Yeah, pretty much. Pretty much.
You didn't buy his motivation as a character.
he was too basic.
Can I while you guys have your moment over there, I feel like I need to point out this is the first game that I've ever felt a sympathy for Ganon, because he has this monologue where he says, in my land there was it was death all day. The sun would scorch us and burn us and kill us during the day, and when the sun would go down and the moon would come up, it would be freezing cold and icy, and it would be just as bad. And then I would look over at the kingdom of Hyrule, and the winds who would destroy me in my land gave it like bountiful harvest in life, and so I wanted some of that. And I was like, this is the first time that I've ever felt that like Ganon is something other than like pure evil.
He's a person.
Because in a lot of the mythology around Zelda, and especially in this game leading up to it, everyone just says like Ganon is pure evil.
Oh my God, he's the worst.
This is the first time that I've ever been like, oh, Ganon has like a reason why he's doing this stuff. He's not just like, I hate everything and I'm an angsty teenager and I want to make this world evil.
I think that still is fitting.
I didn't scroll. I literally had the same reaction as Jacob. Yo, what is happening? Question mark. That was my actual opinion.
So what ends up happening is Ganon sucker punches Link. Zelda is passed out. He picks up both of them. He pulls out the aspects of the Triforce within them, courage and wisdom, and assembles the Triforce. And as he goes to touch it, the King of Red Lions appears, touches it, and says, haha, I was the first one to touch the Triforce, and I get my wish now, and I want...
Finders keepers.
I want hope for this world.
Yep.
I want these kids to have something to look forward to. I want a new chance. I want a new life. I want you to be stopped.
It was like a tables, ladders, chairs match in wrestling where like someone just steals the belt.
Perfect.
Out of nowhere. He jumps and grabs it. He's like, this is my belt now. That was solely for Jacob to enjoy.
Thanks. I appreciate that.
And so, you get... The King of Red Lions says this thing, and then the whole bubble that is separating the Hyrule from the ocean above it starts breaking down. Mm-hmm. And what happens after that?
You fight Ganon for the last time.
Right.
It looks cool.
I
did love
I thought it was
the
really
look
cool.
of it. Yeah, the look of the location.
All of the water coming down.
That was like my favorite locale in the whole game. I'm like, damn, this looks good.
I was more concerned about like that area flooding, so I honestly thought that area was going to flood and that I would have a time limit, and I don't do well with time limits. And like on that little like ice island where you have a time limit, and I was just I
there's
hated
a precedent
that.
in Zelda games for time
limits,
in final
exactly.
bosses.
Majora's
So like in Ocarina of Time, when you're coming down with Zelda
64.
Yeah, there's a time limit, and I was like, nope, and it didn't happen. So I was really happy about that. But then you fight Ganon, and this is where the other half of Grandma's soup comes in for me.
And then you defeat him, and you stab him right in the forehead.
In the face.
Holy crap.
And he turns to stone.
Like one of the most violent deaths I
In a
wasn't
Nintendo
expecting
game,
in a
too?
Nintendo game. Exactly.
Whoa.
Here, look, some more of my notes. First of all, Zelda is OP because she
She's
single-handedly
like,
was
oh,
the
yo,
reason.
sorry, I slept too long, is what she says.
Yeah.
She gives you a wink.
The best.
This is the coolest Zelda in my experience of
Uh-huh.
playing Zelda.
And
games.
then at the moment of like when you jump up and you stab your master sword, your beautiful, powerful master sword, dead in his head.
The Sword of Evil's
And,
Bane.
and my note is, this is not a kid's game. Most violent death I've ever seen. And then my next one is, do we not get our sword back?
Okay, so you guys know me as a big, burly, strong, testosterone-filled man.
Of course.
Go on.
But I teared up when the King of Red Lions is having this discussion with Link and Zelda saying, I'm going to stay here. I'm going down with my ship. I'm going down with my kingdom. Because Zelda and Link end up saying, like, no, you can come with us. We'll find you a land. And he just says, like, but it won't be Hyrule.
It'll be your land.
It'll be your land. And then, boom, water starts pouring down. And there's an air bubble around you and Zelda. And you start floating up. And he's just sitting in the depths. Just saying, like, this is all for you.
But
Nintendo
Link reaches
Titanic.
out his hand.
It
It was
is.
at this point I was tearing up too, and then Link reaches out his hand for the king, and the king reaches his hand out and then puts it down, and I was
Yeah.
like, oh my god! And I just started crying. I might cry right now thinking about it. It was so sad.
Mhm.
You became like best friends with the King of Red Lions the entire game, and he like helps you save the world, and then all of a sudden you have to like leave him at the bottom of the ocean. Like, that ain't cool.
There was so much, like, in this game that was pressing you, like, this is immediate. We have to go do this now. We need to move fast. This is important. This is very important. We have to do this. That I never sat back and thought about the relationship between the King of Red Lions and Link. And it was only in that moment that it struck me that, man, these guys have been through so much together. And I felt dumb tearing up in a Zelda game where the story was kind of nonsense, but I felt like they actually had character and personality. And in previous Zelda games, from my experience, these characters had just been like empty vessels for you to project yourself
He
and
was a
people in the
boat,
world
an
onto.
empty vessel.
But
I thought you did
And that was the
That's
Left
good.
Behind
That's
Game
good.
Club. Thank you very much for listening. No, go ahead, Mike. Sorry.
no, yeah, it's just I thought that was an incredibly touching moment. And then they ruin it all because it goes to the credits. Or sorry, you get up to the top, you find the pirate ship waiting for you. Nico's sitting on the top of the mast, saying like, "Hello, Squabby," and everything looks like it's magical. Credits roll, credits end, and then there's more. Okay,
Oh, I
my-
did not.
I
I
Alt
did not
F4'd.
watch after the credits.
I Alt F4'd, like, as soon as I saw credits.
okay, Jake.
I watched
explain.
so basically, you see your sister, the pirate boat scene, right?
So you're at
Before
Outset
the
Island.
credits.
You're at your island after the
Yeah.
credits with Grandma, your
Mhm.
sister, everyone from the town,
Yep.
and they're looking at you with the pirate ship on. There's a pirate ship and Tetra on one
Yep.
side, and the King of Red Lions as a boat on the other.
Yep. And you sail away with the pirate boat and the King of Red Lions,
And then
that's
to,
it.
And then to top it off, who's on the boat? Both your little Korok friend and Medley.
Oh, I didn't notice that.
Yeah, they were both on that boat. Who were supposed to be sacrificing themselves to stay inside those temples to make sure that evil is stuck within it forever.
They are on the boat before the credits. Yeah, but I didn't.
Okay,
I
they're on
didn't
the boat
see
before the credits.
The afterwards.
It took out all of the emotional punch that they had just had with this. Your friends are stuck in these temples. They're devoting their lives to make sure that you can defeat Ganon. The King of Red Lions is doing everything he can, and then he says, like, go without me. And then after the credits, when you're sailing off, it's like, what was any of this for? Like,
There's no
you
point
just
to any of it.
You just cut yourself off at the knees. Any of this great emotional punch of this story. And I honestly, starting this, I never thought that I would be upset that, like, the story in a Zelda game didn't come to what it should have been, because I enjoy the dungeons, I enjoy the puzzles, I enjoy the mechanics, but this story actually got me tearing up, and then they just undercut themselves, and that was just really disappointing.
I would say for me, the big difference in this game compared to other Legend of Zelda games that I've played
Zelda 64?
is Zelda 64, The Ocarina of Time. In that game, you always remember the finer points of the story. But in this game, I will probably remember the characters rather than you. Kind of touched on it, but to me, like I hadn't noticed that the characters were truly the story. And like, do you remember most of the characters that are in Ocarina of Time or Majora's Mask? Probably not, right?
Yes,
I remember
I do.
their physical design. I don't remember their names, what they've said. I don't remember,
I remember
anything else
everything
about
about Majora's Mask.
Yeah, I don't remember.
Do?
Everything.
Okay.
How many times
It's
did you
my
play it?
favorite. Oh, like it's all the way through at least 7.
Okay, see, like I played Phantom Hourglass. I don't remember a thing. But if I play it again, I might be able to like, oh yeah, I remember this. I remember
But
this.
I think what I was getting at is, for the average player,
yeah.
they'll probably remember the characters versus the story, whereas in other games, it's always story. Because I could probably tell you point for point what happens in Ocarina of Time. Pretty much. There are a lot of dungeons in there. A water dungeon, a Shadow Link. I don't want to talk about it. But, like, the characters is what I'm definitely going to remember.
Because they had
in this game.
personality.
They did, and tons of it.
Lots.
And I feel like
They were
the
so
art
sassy.
style, so sassy, so many winks. And it
many
was
winks.
more than just the art style that did it. It was
Yeah.
the writing, too.
Winks at Link.
Mm-hmm. I didn't remember the Ganon being so like
Sad
Shakespearean
boy?
almost. Like he is Shakespearean
Right, yeah.
compared to before, where we're just like, I'm evil now, I'm a horse or I'm a pig.
He was not really a character before. He was an empty vessel that you projected
Yep.
everything evil onto. And this time they actually gave him like a motivation.
He was Bowser before.
They give him
Yeah.
a backstory.
And you only find out what that motivation is at the end, but it still is something.
Yeah.
So yeah, I really enjoyed my time with the game. I know, Jacob, you didn't quite have as positive an experience, but that was watching you play the game. But in this discussion, it seems like you are more positive than you kind of let on while you were playing.
Yeah. So I've played this game before. I played it on GameCube probably a year or two after it came out. I always look back and say that Wind Waker is my favorite Legend of Zelda game. Now, having played it a second time, I definitely want to play through Ocarina of Time fully, because I think I explained in the last podcast, I'm the guy that rented the game. I've played it a dozen times from different spots, so I've probably played the whole game, but never all the way through. I enjoy, again, talking about it with friends makes it better.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if I could like sit here and be like, yo, you should really play Wind Waker, because having played this game, all I want to do now is play Breath of the Wild, because you can
Same.
see the design inspirations that they took from Wind Waker and like exploring, going to different islands. Like
Big open
this
world.
is the blueprint for Breath of the Wild.
Mhm.
So I definitely just want to play Breath of the Wild.
Same here.
I would say if you have the ability to do that, I haven't played it, so I can't say like, oh, it's been great. I've watched a lot of it. I would say like, go and get Breath of the Wild, and if you're still hungry for more of this, go back and play Wind Waker. The Wii U version's great.
100% the Wii U version just based off YouTube video.
Yeah,
Mhm.
just videos were amazing.
Mhm.
Watching
Yeah.
Jacob play it on stream, amazing. Looked fantastic.
I did. Mo,
Yeah.
Mo, we'll start with
'Kay,
you. If you have any more thoughts?
No, you guys pretty much summed it up. It was the entire time I had the little downs. I actually had a couple downs I wanted to mention. They're really like not
What
the,
did you call them again?
Rants and Raves.
Tell us about your rants.
Okay, well, I kind of went through rambling back and forth, but some of my things I didn't like was, my comment was, if I get slashed by a spear, sword guy, cow guy one more time,
The Moblin.
was that what he's called?
Yeah, Mo the Moblin.
Okay, no, what?
Yeah.
That's what they're called,
Talking
actually?
about the guys with the like actual armor.
They have weird, like, cow, like, snouts. They looked awkward,
that-
and they
Oh,
have the
moblins.
sword spears.
Yep.
They're Moblins.
Yeah, okay,
Mo the Moblin.
I don't know. I'm a big proponent of, I don't like platformers and like Mario like games, because like if it's difficult, I close the game and I leave and I move on. If I wasn't doing this podcast, I would have not finished this game really early on because I kept getting killed. Another thing, small and not a big thing, but just kind of kept annoying me at the end, when Link celebrates because he's just received 10 rupees.
But I love his celebration.
Every time with 10 rupees. Okay, anyways, that was just another small thing. The things that kept me going were those little puffs of cloud, the small little like animations that didn't need to be there. Every time someone like died, they poof and disappeared. I don't know. There was actually at one point, I think it was when we were going through the boss battles, because like, oh, okay, more boss battles. I'm gonna find exactly what I wrote. I put something like, I'm content with this game. I'm satisfied with this
I'm
game.
content.
Yeah, I'm satisfied to this point. Yeah, I can't find it, but anyways, I was like, at this point, I'm okay with it so far. And then that was right before like the final boss battles again. So, I thought it was good. If you want to play it, good recommendation, Jacob. Maybe play Breath of the Wild, but if you're going to play it again, I say Wind Waker HD is the way to go.
I agree. Dawn?
I haven't actually played Wind Waker HD, but I have seen it. When it first got released, I saw my friend watch it, or I watched my friend play it, and it was just so pretty. So I would say go for it.
And did you enjoy your time with it? With Wind Waker?
I did enjoy my time, but it was a little bit tedious, and you really do have to do those side quests in order to get like extra heart pieces or like more money or the bigger wallet or more magic or whatever. I think that is very worth it, and there is a point to have it in the game and in your exploration, because by the end I needed it and I didn't want to go back and find it. I just wanted to get it done.
I thought I was going to be way angrier given that I played this game for like 10 hours in the past 20 hours to finish it, and I thought I would be real angry, but I'm not as... I guess I was okay with this game.
I would challenge anybody who's watching Jacob's streams when they go back and watch it to do a count of how many times I hate this game is stupid. How many times he says that?
Probably a lot.
Like, it was a lot. It was great. I loved it.
It was... But this is one of your favorite games, right?
It is. It's one of my favorites. I had never fully completed it before now. And I loved doing it. Okay. So I'm really glad that we played the game. Thanks for playing it with me, guys.
It's a good game. Good recommendation, Michael.
Good. You know what else I love doing? Giving people reviews. Here, I'm going to give you reviews right now. Mo, your microphone is red. Mike, you wore a great hat today. Don, I like your headphones. Could we review other things, Michael?
We can review, I don't know, maybe this podcast?
What? How? What?
Well, I think you'd go to iTunes. And then you would click number of stars. How many stars, Don, do you think they should?
I'd say at least 5.
At least 5? Okay. Yeah, so if you have the opportunity to do more than 5, you should do that. But if you don't, minimum 5, you should do, that would be in a reasonable amount. And then when you do that, leave some comments. Explain why you think it'd be, minimum 5 stars. And then we can go from there. Yeah.
There's someone here that wants to say something. I'm gonna hand him the microphone. Here it goes.
I'm unplugging his microphone.
Hi, my name is Angry Alvin, and I'm angry, and I want to give your show 1 star because you didn't like Wind Waker. Thoughts, Michael?
You're right. It's wrong to not like Wind Waker. But
Alvin, here's a potato chip.
The way that you should get by it is by reaching out on Twitter and getting angry at Jacob McCourt. And then let him know that his opinion's wrong. And then, when he corrects his opinion, give 5 stars.
Thank you very much. I'm satisfied with that answer. These chips that were offered to me are very good. I'm going to go now.
Great.
Thanks so much, Michael.
Thank you, Alvin.
That Alvin guy's something else, eh?
He's a real SOB.
The question is, who keeps leaving the door open?
I know. Why does that keep happening? And why are there chip pieces on my microphone now? So I think that's the show, right?
Nice wrap up.
Limping across the finish line.
Mike, why don't you do something? Say bye.
So, where can the people find you at, Mo?
Oh, right, that. Sorry.
They can find me at Murtadi, all my social media handles. Jacob, where can they find you?
They can find me at Jacob McCourt on everything, or they can watch me stream at jacobstreams.com.
Don?
I have my Instagram handle at Don Darling with 2 N's.
All those fans sliding in the DMs. And then everyone can find me at RuffaloM or michaelruffalo.com. And yeah.
That's been the show.
We will leave it. Our next game, we'll announce it on Twitter. We've got some fun games in the pipeline that we're going to be playing. We haven't quite figured out exactly which one's next. And we have some fun guests lined up. So yeah, stay tuned.
Do I have to say words now?
No.
We can just leave it?
Think so.
Okay.
Goodbye, guys.
That was me trying to sing the ending.
The theme song?
Theme song.
Great. Hey, Don, thanks for coming.
Thank you so much for having me, guys. This was a lot of fun.